got a slip in your palm and a hole in your chest. Black coffee on the felt, man, you look like a mess. 3-team parlay turned to dust in your hand. Now you stare at the chips like they made you this man. But don't you go quiet, don't you fade from the floor. Your name still means something to somebody for sure. Put the glass down, baby. Look at me now. Hold on, hold on. Not tonight, not now. Hold on. Let me pull you out. That fella bites hard, but it don't get the crown.
What's up, everybody? It's Toad back with you with Toadstool Sports. Sunday, June 28th. I don't have any voice. I don't know how I'm going to get through this show. I barely did it yesterday. Whatever. 0-1-1 on the show yesterday. The Cincinnati Reds were tied at the end of the first 5, and of course they wound up winning the game. Barely. But, yeah, so there's no way that I would include Cincinnati's bullpen in any of my plays, though. There's no way. So that was BS. I mean, Burns was the better pitcher in the game, and we still didn't get the win on that. And then the loser was the Diamondbacks. Cabrera just kind of lost it a little bit, and the D-backs didn't put up any offense, so what can you do? They lose by 2 runs. We needed them to lose by 1 to at least push the bet. That didn't happen. Whatever. I'm going to give out 2 totals here and a WNBA play. I'm skipping the World Cup, although you can go watch my World Cup bracket special that I did last night. Very boring. I filled out a bracket. I hate my bracket. It's probably not going to be right. It's a game theory bracket. You can go check that out if you want to. It was quick. It was late. I was just trying to do it to get through it. All right, afternoon baseball here. Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is trying to avoid a sweep at home. So a lot of times I will look towards that team. Teams that are trying to avoid getting swept at home tend to be a good way to look just because they are more motivated and they're the home team. So a lot of times they're favored and whatever. And in this case, yeah, Pittsburgh is the better team here. They probably have the better starting pitcher on the mound here too. Cincinnati does have Milwaukee next, so it is possible Cincinnati starts looking ahead to that. Don't really know if they're going to overlook Pittsburgh, though, because Pittsburgh has been good. Better than expected, at least. Cincinnati used 4 relief pitchers yesterday. I would not want any part of their bullpen. Pittsburgh used 4. Neither bullpen is good. Pittsburgh number 21, Cincinnati 28 based on whip. Pittsburgh is number 3 in offense. Cincinnati is somewhere not good. 23rd, tied with the Red Sox. Yeah, that's how you know they're not good. So Pittsburgh does have an advantage in the bullpen and in the offense, and probably in the starting pitching. Brady Singer is pitching for Cincinnati. Not good. 4.81 ERA, 1.51 whip is really bad. He's really bad on the road. 6.32 road ERA. Did pitch once in Pittsburgh earlier this year. It did not go well. He only lasted 3 1/3 innings, allowed 4 earned runs on 7 hits, 1 strikeout, 2 walks. Very bad pitching line in that game. So why am I not giving out a play on Pittsburgh here? Well, Singer actually has good numbers against them, at least 76 at-bats, 211 average, 667 OPS. I mean, I expected his numbers to be a lot worse here, especially given that he was horrible against them earlier this year. 11-8 strikeout walk ratio is bad, but the rest of these numbers are not bad. So I don't know if I really want to do it, and I don't know if I want to back Mitch Keller either, because he hasn't been that good. 4.89 ERA, 1.32 whip. 5.62 home ERA, very bad. He was good last time out against Seattle. Wasn't really pitching well in the starts prior to that, although the fielding kind of hurt him in the game before that. And the 2 games prior to that were against the Dodgers and Atlanta, so he's definitely not facing an offense that good here. His numbers are ugly though. His walk rate is too high, strikeout rate is low, but that's expected with him. Hit rate is fine, but he's not in the greatest form necessarily right now. Numbers against Cincinnati are all right though. 231 average, 723 OPS, 31 to 14 strikeout walk ratio, 117 at bats. That's still not a good ratio there though. He did pitch against them earlier this year, I think. Yeah, he dominated them here at home earlier this year. 7 innings, 1 run allowed, 6-1 strikeout walk ratio, 3 hits allowed. So those numbers are all good. So I do still like Pittsburgh here, but don't think I could do it. Singer, by the way, has actually been better over his last couple starts. He's had like 3 good starts in a row here. One of them was against Milwaukee, so that's a decent sign. Singer is actually in better form right now. Can you trust him, though? Probably not. But I don't necessarily want to fade him when he actually is at least in good form right now, although the prior 2 starts were against bad offenses, Mets and Padres. He's got a really high hit rate on the season, a lot of home runs allowed, walk rate not too great, and strikeout rate is low, too. I'm going to lean Pittsburgh, but it's not going to make my card. The money is disagreeing with Pittsburgh. They're at minus 130 something, 64% of tickets, 63% of the cash on them, so the money's disagreeing with Pittsburgh here. I lean that way. I mean, I could see the argument for the over as well. The total's at 9, so it's right on that key number. Money is kind of backing the over here. I mean, you really have some pretty untrustworthy pitchers really just going throughout this game, really, including the bullpens, so maybe an over is really the better way to play that game. I don't have a ton on that one. Kyle, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. Washington and Baltimore. I was thinking this series looked like it was going to be more of an over series. I mean, it is involving Washington, so usually that is the case, but that has not been the case. Both games have gone under. This is the rubber match of the series, so both teams probably show up here. It is kind of a rivalry, geographic rivalry. Baltimore used 4 relief pitchers yesterday. Washington also did. Neither bullpen is good. Washington really bad, 26th. Baltimore 16th, but their ERA is still not good. Offensively, these teams are capable. Washington is good. They're tied in 4th here with Colorado, but I think they're better than Colorado. Baltimore 15th in offense. So again, it does seem like more of an over type of matchup here. Zach Littell is pitching for Washington. He's not good. 5.4 ERA, 1.37 whip. He is better on the road, though. 4.25 road ERA. So maybe this is not the worst setup for him here. He's not pitching well recently either, though. I mean, his pitching line was okay last time out. I actually don't know why they took him out after 4 innings against Philly because he hadn't thrown that many pitches. And he was actually having a decent start. So I don't really know why he exited that game early. But other than that, yeah, he hasn't really been pitching well. He has a really low strikeout rate on the season. Hit rate is too high. His walk rate is actually not that bad. He also allows a ton of home runs. That's not good. Against Baltimore, not great. 259 average, 811 OPS, 21 to 5 strikeout walk ratio is good. 108 at bats, so we have a big sample here. His problem is he's too hittable, man. I mean, he doesn't walk that many guys, but he throws a lot of pitches over the plate. I don't really trust him. Kyle Bradish is pitching for the Orioles. His ERA looks good, 3.64. His whip kind of tells a different story, 1.45. That is not good. He's been better recently, though, and he is better at home, 3.15 home ERA. Bradish has actually been really good in his last 2 starts, both on the road against Seattle and Anaheim. He went 15 2/3 innings combined and only allowed 1 run across those 2 starts. 21 to 3 strikeout walk ratio. That's pretty good stuff right there. He's in good form right now. Numbers against Washington are actually not bad. 258 average, 582 OPS allowed, 6.2 strikeout walk ratio, only 31 at bats. They have 5 hitters who have faced him. I think you got to go Baltimore in this game if you're going to play this game. I think they have the better starting pitcher here. He's in the better form here as well. You actually have a bullpen advantage as well. The money's not agreeing with that. 79% of tickets on Baltimore, 62% of the cash on Washington. I don't buy it. I think Baltimore makes some sense here. I mean, probably the money is because of the price, though. Like, Baltimore's minus 200, so yeah, I mean, I can kind of see the argument for not playing Baltimore at the very least, because minus 200 with Bradish on the mound. I mean, it does seem like you're never going to see him favored by that much, really, against a pretty capable Washington team. So, yeah, I mean, I guess I see the argument for why the money is on Washington there. It's all about the price, but I don't see Baltimore losing that game, though. I think they have the matchup edge in all of the pitching in the game. Over probably I guess over could make sense here because you're looking at two pitchers that just generally aren't that good, and both bullpens could give it up too. So an over 9, I guess, kind of makes sense there. The money's coming in on the over, but I don't love it. The Braves have some major advantages in their game today. I would not fade them today. Bradish, I mean, he looked really good in his last 2 starts. I just showed you his numbers. He's not that bad. Although he's not as good as his ERA makes him look, and he's not as bad as his WHIP makes him look. I don't know how else to describe it. Yes, I talked about that Royals game yesterday. Zach, what's up? Yeah, it was a football score. Well, it wasn't a football score because you can't score 1 point in football. I don't know. I mean, I liked the Royals yesterday in the first 5, and that would have been a push. Both starting pitchers didn't allow anything, but I was right that Walker outpitched Martin in that game, though. It just didn't translate onto the scoreboard. Texas at Toronto. Toronto's on the verge of a 4-game sweep here at the hands of Texas. Toronto is about to get swept. So, again, you have one of those situations where the home team is about to get swept. That is Toronto. I would be leaning towards Toronto potentially for that reason. Also, I think they have the better starting pitcher on the mound. You actually get kind of a cheap price with this, too. Although Toronto does not have the better bullpen here against Texas. Texas plays Cleveland next. I mean, might they look ahead to that? Maybe. I mean, Cleveland is, I believe, leading the AL Central right now, so maybe Texas does look ahead to Cleveland. That's an ESPN game tomorrow, so they might look ahead to it for that reason. It's a big pitching duel type of matchup there tomorrow, so yeah, situationally, Toronto looks like they're going to be the right side here. Texas used 4 relief pitchers yesterday. Toronto used 5, so I would not want to deal with Toronto's bullpen. They're okay. They're ranked 13th. Texas is ranked 9th. Texas definitely has a bullpen advantage, even though their ERA has gone a little bit up. They have a good bullpen. Texas, not good offensively, really. They're up to 19th, though. The Blue Jays, 22nd. Also not good. Kumar Rocker is pitching for Texas. Not really a guy I'd want to back, especially on the road. 4.14 ERA, 1.38 WHIP is not great. Even though his ERA looks okay. He's actually been a little bit better recently, kind of. His road ERA has gone down to 4.34. Actually, I think his home ERA has gone up, though. So he's balancing out, man. Balance. Rocker, he was actually good in his last start on the road against Miami, but he was not doing well prior to that. A couple starts prior to that were ugly. So I don't know if I trust one good start against Miami out of him here. He's got not a great hit rate here. His walk rate is way too high. Strikeout rate is low as well. Rocker does not have much experience against Toronto, or they don't have much experience against him. 4 batters have faced him, 5 at bats. The only hit is a single from Clement. I think it's Clement, like Matt Clement. I remember that guy, that pitcher. He was on the Red Sox for a little while. 1-1 strikeout walk ratio here. 200 average, 533 OPS. I don't really trust small sample sizes that much, though. And Shane Bieber is pitching here for Toronto. He's good, although it didn't show in his first outing. I mean, obviously, he has a 9.82 ERA and 2.45 WHIP, but he's obviously not that bad. I mean, you look throughout his career, he's been a really good pitcher throughout his career. He's dealing with injuries the last couple of seasons, though. He just came back. He made 1 start this season. It was not good against Houston. Houston completely lit him up, but I might give him a pass for that because it was his first game back. He really hasn't pitched that much over the last 2 seasons. When he was pitching last year, he was fairly good. I gave out some plays on him last year. I think at some point he's going to return to form as long as he can stay out there and stay healthy. So I don't think his numbers tell you anything about what he really is. He does have really good numbers against Texas. 193 average, allowed 483 OPS and 57 at bats, 14-2 strikeout walk ratio. Am I ready to back him here? I don't think I want to, but I think you got to look at Toronto in this one. Yes, Toronto first 5 is what I would do here. I would avoid their bullpen. Yeah, I think Toronto has a starting pitching edge. You got to worry about is Bieber actually going to be back in form, though? I don't know. That's really the question here. Well, that and maybe Toronto's offense will struggle against Rocker. I mean, I guess that is possible because they don't have much experience against him. Toronto's at minus 130 something here. The money is fading Toronto, though. 67% of tickets, 57% of the cash on them. So the money doesn't agree with Toronto here. And the money is also backing the over. That doesn't make a ton of sense to me. Like, this game looks more like an under to me than an over. But I don't know. I think Toronto, to avoid the sweep with the guy who is generally the more backable pitcher here on the mound. Yeah, I think Toronto first 5 makes the most sense there. You might have to lay a half run, though, if you do it that way. Because they're probably more inflated on the line there with Bieber. But maybe, because he hasn't been good recently. So I don't know. Mr. Pinsey, what's up? What's concerning? I have no idea. Bieber, I mean, again, like, his career numbers are really, really excellent, though. So he just needs to be healthy. But I guess the other question is, like, I mean, we don't know. We don't know how severe, like, these injuries that he's had have really been. So I don't know. Sometimes guys just won't come back from injury. But he's not that old. He's like 31. So I don't know. It's easier for guys in their 20s to bounce back. Arizona at Tampa Bay. Don't even want to talk about this series. Tampa Bay is about to sweep Arizona here. Tampa Bay, I forget who they're playing next because I think they're one of the 4 teams that are off tomorrow. I forget who they're playing after this. I don't even know. I don't want to guess, but I don't think it's a look-ahead spot for them, whoever they're. I think it's like Kansas. It might be Kansas City. Yeah, I don't think it's a look-ahead spot, but I don't know. Well, they just played Kansas City, though, so I don't know if that's right. Maybe it is. Anyway, Arizona might be a little bit more motivated because they're trying to avoid the sweep, but Arizona's got a huge problem here because the starting pitching matchup does not favor them at all here. Tampa Bay, not a good bullpen, though. They used 5 relief pitchers yesterday. Arizona's bullpen I don't love, but they set up better here. They're more rested. They used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. Arizona's the 8th-ranked bullpen here, although their ERA still not really that good. Tampa Bay's bullpen ERA worse than that. They're at 12th, but I think both bullpens are worse than where they rank here. Tampa Bay does have the lesser of the 2 bullpens here. Tampa Bay's got the better offense. They're back up to 11th. Arizona, 26th. Not good. Merrill Kelly is on the mound for Arizona. He has not been pitching well. His career might be over, dude. I mean, I don't know. Like, he's not really a velocity guy, so I thought that he'd continue to be able to pitch all right, but that is not happening. He's returned to the team that he's been on most of his career. His career numbers have been decent, but not this year. 5.71 ERA, 1.52 whip. That's really bad. He is good on the road, though, or at least better on the road. 4.31 road ERA. That's not as bad. His last start was okay against St. Louis, but that was a pitcher-friendly park in St. Louis. Walked more guys than he struck out still, so still some red flags in there. He's kind of alternating good and bad starts here, which would mean this one would be a bad one if that continues. He's got a high hit rate, really low strikeout rate. He's not really a strikeout pitcher, but even for him, that's low. And his walk rate is too high as well, so not a ton to like here from him. Numbers against Tampa, not good, although only 6 of their hitters have faced him. 15 at-bats, 400 average, 1,071 OPS, 2.2 strikeout walk ratio. Doesn't look good. He's going to have to go up against Drew Rasmussen, who is in the Cy Young discussion at this point, which seems kind of insane. But he's got good numbers here. 2.62 ERA, 0.88 whip is really good. He's a little bit worse at home, 2.9 ERA, as if that's bad, though. He's been in really good form this month. He has a 34-3 strikeout walk ratio and an ERA of 1, and he's allowed only 13 hits in 27 innings. He's definitely on fire here, although he faced 3 bad offenses out of these 4. But he did do really well against the Dodgers here, too, and he was really good against the Yankees towards the end of May, too. So he's definitely pitching well. He's got a fairly high strikeout rate, especially for him, because I don't think he's that much of a strikeout guy, really. Low walk rate, low hit rate. Everything looks pretty good here. Numbers against Arizona are actually not good, though. 294 average, 833 OPS, 5.2 strikeout walk ratio, and 34 at bats. So maybe this is an offense that can get to him a little bit here. I mean, I wouldn't really want to fade Rasmussen, though. I mean, he's just pitching way too well right now. He's clearly in way, way better form than Merrill Kelly, but you do have to pay for it. If you want Tampa Bay here, you're looking at like minus 200 at this point, which is really insane. Minus 190 something basically here. The money is backing Arizona. 86% of tickets on Tampa, 66% of the cash on Arizona. If you're going to play Arizona, you should do it full game. That would be my opinion here, because you'll get, I think you'll at least get a bullpen advantage from them here. The starting pitching looks like is where Tampa Bay has the biggest advantage here with the pitching, starting pitching. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about this game. The money's kind of backing the over, although the total's 7.5, which seems really low for a Merrill Kelly game. But maybe it's warranted. I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, I could see the over because neither pitcher really has good matchup numbers here. So you don't have a lot of leeway with the 7.5 there, and you have bullpens that are really not that good. So an over, I think there are more arguments for an over than an under in that game. I will say that. I don't know what else to say about that game, but situation favors Arizona a bit. The starting pitching definitely favors Tampa Bay, though. So I don't know what else to say about that. Gerald, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. All right. Arizona. We just talked about that. Houston and Detroit. This looks like a pitching matchup that favors Houston. I will say that. These teams have they haven't split the series. Houston's won 2 out of the 3 of this 4-game series here. Will Houston overlook Detroit? I don't know about that. Houston's next opponent is Minnesota, so kind of unlikely they're going to overlook this matchup here. Probably would also like to avoid the split series if they can. Houston used 4 relief pitchers yesterday. Detroit used 4 as well, it looks like. These bullpens have been pitching better recently. Detroit's bullpen is up to 17th. They're in like mediocre range here now. Houston kind of going that way too at 19th. Houston's really kind of turned it around in the bullpen, so these are no longer bullpens that you really have to avoid. Houston, number 13 in offense, so they've actually fallen off offensively. Detroit is 20th, so that's not great either. Makes it look like, more of an under matchup than maybe you would think. Hunter Brown is pitching for Houston. He's good. He came back from injury not that long ago. I think he made a couple starts early in the season, got injured, and then he's made 2 since coming back. I think he's got a 1.4 ERA, 1.19 whip. That's all good. His ERA on the road is a little bit worse at 3. He had like 1 bad start, I think, on the road. Actually, no, he didn't really have any. I think it was just because last outing, he had a short outing against Toronto. They're still kind of limiting his pitch count a little bit. He was really inefficient with his pitches against Toronto last time out, but he only allowed 1 run in 3 innings, but threw too many pitches. His walk rate has been a little bit concerning here. Strikeout rate is really high. Hit rate is low as well. He's got to get these walks under control, but he's a really good pitcher. I mean, we saw what he could do the last couple of years. I'm not too concerned with Brown here. I think he should do well. He's got good numbers against Detroit. He just faced Detroit, his first game back from injury, and I believe I gave that out as a play. I think it was a winner on the show, first 5 under, because that was Valdez going up against his former team, and it was Brown, who I consider to be a veteran at this point, returning from injury, so I liked that setup. He pitched well in that start, although he walked too many guys, so he was still kind of inefficient with his pitches, but overall he's really good against Detroit. 196 average, allowed 555 OPS in 102 at-bats. So they have a lot of at-bats against him. They still haven't done much against him. 36 strikeouts. The walk number is still kind of high, though, at 12. But overall, really good numbers. So I think Brown should pitch well. He's going up against Jack Flaherty. He's actually returning from the injured list here. He's definitely a veteran, so, I do actually like veterans when they come back from injury because I think they get pumped up to get back out there. They might give you a better start than maybe they normally would. Flaherty has been really untrustworthy, though. Before he went down with injury, 5.35 ERA this year, 1.57 whip, really bad. Not good at home either, 5.6 home ERA. He was struggling before he went down. He actually had a couple of good starts before he got injured, I think, in the middle of his last outing against Cleveland. He wasn't really pitching well in that one, though. Overall, he's got kind of a high hit rate here. His strikeout rate has actually been good, so he does have strikeout stuff here, but his walk rate has also been way too high. So he puts way too many guys on base, like in every way possible, even though he also strikes a lot of guys out. Very, very weird pitching numbers there. He does have good numbers against Houston, though. 202 average, 585 OPS, 29.7 strikeout walk ratio, and 84 at bats. So maybe he does pitch well here, coming back from injury in a matchup that's at least good for him. I still think Houston makes some sense in this game. They have the better starting pitcher, at least. I mean, you can make the argument that you should avoid their bullpen, though. So maybe you could go first 5 with Houston here. Because they do have some advantage there, I think, with Brown over Flaherty. 74% of tickets, 83% of the cash on Houston. They're like minus 130. They're probably a little bit heavier priced on the first 5, though. And you are laying a price like that on the road. I don't necessarily want to do that, though. And there are arguments to be made for an under in this game. It would be under 8. 62% of tickets, 93% of the cash on the over here. But you might get good starting pitching from both pitchers here, man. I just showed you the matchup numbers. So this could be an under. You could go first 5 to maybe make it a little bit safer, although safe when backing Flaherty isn't really a thing, though. But the bullpens look like they're a little bit more backable now than they have been in the past. So maybe first 5 under those, just a little bit of a better play than the full game. Next game, ESPN Unlimited, is Philadelphia and the Mets. They've split the series so far. It's a big divisional matchup. Mets won yesterday, and they ended a long losing streak. So sometimes that will help a team. They lost like 7 or 8 games in a row. When that happens, I always talk about that. When a team ends a losing streak, sometimes they will have that new momentum. Like they'll finally break that losing momentum, and they'll go on a little bit of a win streak. Maybe that could happen with the Mets, but with this pitching setup, I don't really think so. The Mets do have a decent bullpen, though, better than decent, but they used 4 guys out of it yesterday. Philadelphia used 4 as well. The Mets have the better bullpen. They're actually 3rd, and their bullpen ERA is quite good, so that's not misleading, really. Philadelphia, number 11. Their ERA is up to 4, which isn't really that good. Mets have a terrible offense, 28th, tied with the Indians right now. Phillies have struggled offensively, too. They're 23rd, tied with the Red Sox and the Reds, actually. All red teams. Philadelphia's going with Jesus Luzardo here, up against the Mets bullpen game. So Luzardo should have an advantage here in the pitching. He's been okay. He's got a 4 ERA, 1.3 whip, but I keep talking about how I think he's a little bit better than those numbers make him look. He got a little bit unlucky for a while this season. Just everybody reaching base was scoring against him, although his whip is still too high, so you got to admit that. Although he's been better on the road, 1.52 road ERA, so he's been considerably better on the road. He gave up 1 earned run last time out against Washington. It looked bad because he gave up 5 runs, but 4 of them were unearned, so the fielding did not help him out at all. And he struck out 13 guys in 6 2/3 innings in that one, so he obviously pitched well there. He's in pretty good form right now. Philadelphia's won 6 starts in a row of his, so yeah, I mean, they're backing him with some runs, but he is also pitching pretty well right now. The numbers against the Mets are actually not as good as you would think. 267 average allowed, 761 OPS, a little bit high, 105 at bats, 23-12 strikeout walk ratio. That's an ugly ratio. That's not good. So Luzardo, I mean, he doesn't draw the best matchup here, but the Mets really have struggled offensively. Luzardo's been good on the road. He's pitching well recently, so I don't think he's going to pitch that poorly here. Cionel Perez is pitching for the Mets. He's a relief pitcher, dude. So the Mets are going with a bullpen game here. And I always try to look like, what did they do 4 games prior to, or 5 games prior to this, right, to figure out what they're going to do with their pitching here? And, well, the problem with that is that the Mets played 2 games on one day. So it would be Sean Manaea's turn to go, I think, but he's pitching tomorrow, I'm pretty sure. Or actually, I think Nolan McLean might be pitching tomorrow, and then Manaea after that. So, like, the fact that they had a doubleheader a few days ago throws everything off, right? Because that means that one of those pitchers is not on the correct amount of rest. So neither, like, they couldn't pitch McLean or Manaea here if they wanted to give them their full rest. So I actually think they're just going with a bullpen game here. So I think Philly probably does get the win here. I don't want to bank on it, but yeah, I mean, I'm passing on the game. Philly is getting some of the money, although you do have to lay minus 140 something with them. I don't really love their bullpen, though. So, I mean, Philly first 5 probably makes more sense, but you probably have to lay half a run because the odds makers are going to know that you're getting the most, like, your biggest advantage with Philly is playing them in the first 5. The odds makers will know that as well. 84% of tickets, 94% of the cash on Philly. I would lay the half run in the first 5 probably with Philly if I was going to play this game at all, which I do not want to. The money's also backing the over. I could see the argument for it, I guess. I mean, Philly, Luzardo just doesn't have great matchup numbers, at least, and the Mets bullpen scenario doesn't look great. So, you know, there is that as well. You could maybe also just go with a Philly over their team total just for Philly to get runs off of this Mets bullpen setup. But the Mets might actually pitch well in a bullpen game because their bullpen is fairly good. So, but you know, when you have a bullpen game, your top relievers are not pitching for the entire game. You know what I mean? So you have to use some of your lesser relievers in a setup like that. All right, dude, I'm totally losing my voice. I can't even do this. Next game up is one of my plays. I'm trying to give my voice a rest here. I don't know if it's ever going to come back. I can't sing at all right now. I don't know what's going on. We're going to take the under in Seattle and Cleveland. It's at 7.5 out there. I'm pretty sure you can find a number around that. A little bit of juice there on the under, minus 115. I like this to be a low-scoring game here. I mean, Cleveland, they play a lot of low-scoring home games. But I think we're looking at a couple offenses that have been struggling recently. I think we're looking at some good pitching here. Seattle's got a very rested bullpen and a good bullpen. They only used 1 guy out of it yesterday. Cleveland did use 5. So, you know, if you want to make this first 5, I guess you could do that. But I'm hoping the starting pitching gets us deeper into this game. You know, that's what I'm kind of banking on here. Like, when I see that under that key number, 7.5, I like to go full game when we have at least decent bullpens here, rather than trying to go under 3.5 in the first 5, which is a little bit questionable. Don't love that as much. So hopefully we can get extended starting pitching performances here to help us out. But Cleveland still has a couple of their better pitchers that haven't pitched a lot. They didn't pitch yesterday, at least. So, you know, they might still be able to do okay out of the bullpen here. And, yeah, like, I like the bullpens generally. Seattle is ranked 15th. Cleveland is ranked 18th, but I think they're both better than that. Seattle's got a mid-3s bullpen ERA, so that's pretty good. I think they're a top 10 bullpen. Cleveland, I think, is maybe just outside of the top 10, although their ERA is approaching 4 right now, but I think both bullpens are pretty decent, at least. Seattle's is good. Neither offense has been good. Cleveland 28th, Seattle 26th. Cleveland tied with the Mets. That's ugly stuff, so we're going to fade some offenses that have not been hitting well here. Seattle's dealing with some injuries in their offense. Cleveland definitely also is. So we have, these teams don't have their full lineups here. And I like the starting pitching here, obviously. Emerson Hancock is going for Seattle. He's having a good season, and I think he's still under the radar, man. Like, both of these pitchers, people aren't really talking about them. Hancock has a 3.6 ERA, 1.02 whip is pretty good. He's only a little bit worse on the road, 3.86 ERA. I'm not too concerned by that. I know Seattle's pitchers, a lot of them won't be as good away from Seattle, but he's been fine, and he gets a good matchup here, too. Now, yeah, he wasn't good in his last 2 starts. One was against Washington, so I'll give him a pass for that. That's a good offense. Boston, you know, maybe you have to not give him a pass for that because that was at home. Boston, not a good offense, but he got a little bit unlucky. I mean, he gave up 5 runs on 4 hits in that game, so he definitely deserved to give up fewer runs than he did. 6 strikeouts, 2 walks, so he wasn't actually bad in that outing. And he's going up against Cleveland, and he's got dominant numbers against Cleveland. Most of their hitters have faced him before at this point. They have 27 at-bats against him. They have 1 hit against him, a single from Rocchio, who makes me think of the Karate Kid or something. Ralph Macchio? What? Macchio? Rocchio? I think it's Rocchio, but whatever. Hancock, yeah, he's allowed 1 hit and 27 at-bats against them. Also no walks and 8 strikeouts, so they only have had 1 base runner against them. Ridiculous. 0.37 average, 0.74 OPS. I mean, those numbers are unsustainably low, but Hancock's got dominant numbers against Cleveland. Gavin Williams pitching for Cleveland. He's been good. 3.82 ERA, 1.14 whip. He's been really good at home, 2.64 home ERA. So he has the home road splits in his favor here. He had 1 bad outing here recently on the road against Milwaukee, but he pitched at least decently against the Yankees prior to that. He was really kind of on fire for a few starts before running into the Yankees, but that's the Yankees. I mean, the last 4 starts he's had were against the Yankees twice, Milwaukee, and the White Sox. He pitched well against the White Sox last time out on the road, and now he gets a much easier draw at home against Seattle. So, yeah, he's going to be stepping down in class after facing a bunch of better offenses than that. And prior to those 4 games, he faced Washington, did well there, faced Philly on the road. Philly is better at home. So that was an impressive outing from him there, too. Seattle does not have good numbers against him. 161 average, 558 OPS, and 56 at-bats. 15-7 strikeout walk ratio. The only concern with Williams really is the walks. He has a really high strikeout rate. His walk rate, actually, given the amount of innings he's pitched, he's gotten that walk number down too. So he's pitching a lot better for the most part, and his hit rate is still pretty low. So he's overall got some pretty good stats here. And then as far as Hancock is concerned, I keep forgetting to go over the overall numbers here, but forgive me. He's got a low hit rate, a low walk rate, and a reasonably high strikeout rate. Not too high, but still pretty good. So, yeah, this game has under written all over it for me, so we're going to go under here. I think the money is also agreeing with this. We have 52% of tickets, 72% of the cash on the under. I'd still agree with the under 7, but it looks like a lot of the books out there have 7.5 right now. FD has it at the same price. I think I found this at the Roman Emperor's book. They have it at the same price as well. The HR Cafe, if you want to call it that, the Hard R Cafe, they have it at that number as well, it looks like. So, yeah, do with that info what you want. I think there might be a few other books here that I can't scroll over and see, but whatever. Okay. Next game up is one of the big series here, Cubs and Brewers. These teams have split the series so far. The Brewers did just lose a 5-game win streak with their loss yesterday to the Cubs. So maybe the Brewers will be a little bit hungover from that. I think the series means more to the Cubs right now because Milwaukee has a big lead over them. So maybe a little bit of motivational edge to the Cubs, but the Cubs do not have the starting pitching edge here whatsoever. So I don't really see the Cubs being able to get it done here. Cubs use 4 relief pitchers. I think Milwaukee has the better bullpen too. Milwaukee also used 4. The Cubs are ranked 10th in bullpen, Milwaukee 14th, but Milwaukee's ERA is better. I think they are a better bullpen. Maybe that's just my feel, though. Cubs are tied in 6th in offense with the A's. Brewers are a little bit below that at 10th, but we have 2 pretty good offenses here. Cubs probably a little bit better. Problem with the Cubs is they're in the same type of situation as the Mets because they were the team that the Mets were playing when they had to play that doubleheader the other day. So the Cubs are in a starting pitching situation where they don't really have a pitcher that they can pitch on normal rest here. So I think it would normally be Javier Assad, I think would be next up in line for them. But I think he can't pitch today unless they want to pitch him on short of rest. So it looks like they're just going with a bullpen game here because they have Ryan Rollison listed as their starter here. He's been good. I mean, his numbers are good. He's somewhat of a young guy, but he's just come out of the bullpen this whole time pretty much. So maybe he's made a couple of openers here, but he's going to give you like 1 inning basically, maybe 2. But Cubs, I don't know if they're going to bring in Assad after that because I think they want to give him extra rest here, or give him the right amount of rest, I should say. So I think this might be a true bullpen game for the Cubs, and that could be an issue. They have to go up against Brandon Woodruff, who is really good. 3 ERA, .89 whip, looks really good. Woodruff got hurt at the end of April. He's had injury issues for sure. Like, he missed an entire season prior to last season. Last year when he came back, he pitched really well again. Whenever he's pitched, kind of like Bieber, Woodruff has been good when he's been healthy. Like, throughout his entire career, he's been good. And he came back from injury, and he absolutely shredded Cincinnati last time out at Cincinnati, which is a hitter-friendly ballpark, although I know Cincinnati's been struggling on offense, but he held them to 1 hit in 6 innings, didn't allow any runs or walks, and struck out 10. Yeah, do you think Woodruff is in form right now? Yeah, I would say he is. He came right back from injury and just dominated. Against the Cubs, he doesn't have great numbers, though. .269 batting average allowed, .827 OPS, and 104 at-bats. Strikeout-walk ratio, not good either, 25-14. So Woodruff doesn't draw the best matchup here. Do I actually think he's going to pitch bad? Nah, I don't really think so. I don't know, man. It looks like Milwaukee does have the advantage in the matchup here, but you're paying for it. The odds makers know this, so you are paying like -200 or something. Let me see. What's the number on this? Where is this game? National League. Where are you? Here it is. Yeah, we have... Money is coming in on Milwaukee, though, even though they're about -190. 78% of tickets, 89% of the cash on them. So the money's coming in on Milwaukee. The money is also backing the over. I mean, you could play a Milwaukee run line here, but, I don't know. They seem to have the matchup edge here, but I don't really want to back Woodruff with his matchup numbers here, though. The money is backing the over. I mean, I guess you could make the case for the over here. Woodruff with not good matchup numbers if he does happen to struggle a little bit. And on the other side, you got a bullpen game out of the Cubs here. Could be looking at an over possibly there. I don't want to really deal with that game, though. I mean, Woodruff is just... It's one of those situations where you have good pitcher, bad matchup. So it's like, which one is going to happen? I tend to lean more towards good pitcher. You know what I mean? Like, Woodruff is so good that I think he can just kind of overcome matchup numbers and at least pitch decent. But I don't know. I'm not going to play that game, though. Colorado at Minnesota. I've been correct about this being an over series. Both games have gone over the total in the series. And it makes sense. I mean, you have 2 really bad bullpens here. The offenses have been clicking recently as well. Minnesota used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. Colorado used 4. I think each team has a win in this series, too, so both teams probably try to win this game here. Let me see. Bullpen ERA-wise, yeah, Minnesota's number 29 out of 30 now because the Royals have been so bad recently. They overtook Minnesota for that last spot, but this is a bad Minnesota bullpen. Colorado not much better at 27th. You got 2 really bad bullpens that I would look to fade or avoid here. Colorado's up to 4th offensively, tied with Washington. I don't think they're that good, but they do have some young hitters that are hot right now, which sounds pretty gay. Maybe it is. Minnesota's number 9. They've been hitting well recently as well. Ryan Feltner is pitching for Colorado here. He's not one of their worst pitchers, but he's still not great. 4.79 ERA, 1.3 whip isn't that bad. He's not good on the road, though. 6.17 road ERA, so oddly, he has a better ERA in Coors Field, which you don't usually see. He's been okay-ish this month. Like, he's got kind of mediocre numbers, but strikeout walk ratio is still really bad this month. 16-12 in 21 innings. That's way too many walks. That's not going to cut it. Even though he's not allowed that many runs recently. He's got a pretty decent hit rate, actually, on the season. It's pretty low, but his walk rate is definitely too high. Doesn't strike a lot of guys out either. Feltner against Minnesota. They only have 4 hitters who have faced him, 9 at-bats, but they have done damage. 444 average, 1323 OPS, 1 strikeout and 2 walks. I don't think Feltner is going to do particularly well here. Minnesota has the better chance, I think, to get a better starting pitching matchup here from Connor Prelip, who is young and unfamiliar to the opposing bats, but he started to struggle, dude, after he looked good earlier this season. He's still in his rookie season, I think, but he's got a 5.17 ERA now, 1.42 whip. That's not good. He is better at home, though, 4.18 home ERA, so he's got the advantage of the home road splits here. He's been okay in his last couple of starts. Still, his walk number's been really, really concerning, though. He's also allowed too many hits, more than one per inning. His walk rate is the huge problem, though, way too high. His strikeout rate is okay, though, so he does fool major league hitters at the very least. And like I said, he's going up against a Rocky team that has never faced him before. So at least he does have that advantage of unfamiliarity. I mean, overall, this game still looks like it's probably an over, though. Obviously, if you do go over, you should go full game with this. Take advantage of the bullpens. Totals at 9, which is about what you would expect. 67% of tickets, 87% of the cash on the over. Money is fading Minnesota to a minus 160 or so. I think really it's just that the professional money, I mean, they'll like blindly bet almost where they perceive value. And I think it's just, Colorado's always undervalued in the market, basically, so just put money on them, you know? But I think you could make the argument for Minnesota first 5 here, though. I think Prelip, with his unfamiliarity, and when he's pitching at his best, he can outpitch Feltner, you know what I mean? He's got the home road splits are against Feltner, and they favor Prelip there, so Minnesota first 5 makes some sense there, but you might need to lay a half run if you want to do it that way. I think it's probably safer to just go with the over in that game. I am not doing either, though. Oh, yes, I also forgot. Sorry, I forgot to put my banner up there with my horrendous recent record. Yes, I apologize. It's been good over that entire span, but recently not good. Kansas City and the White Sox here. White Sox are about to sweep Kansas City potentially as they've won both games so far. Kansas City had a shot to win yesterday, and they lost the game late. Waka gave them a good start, man, and Kansas City just couldn't get anything going on offense. Kansas City will be a little bit more motivated here, though, and they might actually have a pitching edge in this game, believe it or not. So maybe Kansas City can somehow win this game. I don't think they're going to be looking ahead because they're trying to avoid getting swept by one of the teams that's above them in the division. The White Sox, who are they playing next? Like, is there a look-ahead component? They're playing Baltimore. I don't really know if that's a look-ahead or not. Not really, probably. But they might overlook Kansas City after beating them twice and beating them 22-1 2 days ago. White Sox only used 2 relief pitchers yesterday. Kansas City only used 2 as well. But as I pointed out, Kansas City is dead last in bullpen. This is a very bad bullpen. White Sox are not great, but they're 20th, so they do have the better bullpen. White Sox are 8th offensively, so they're better there as well. Kansas City 21st. Kansas City might have a starting pitching advantage, though. They're going with Luinder Avila, who his numbers are being skewed a little bit by one really bad start. He's got a 5.06 ERA, 1.62 whip. I know that's not good at all, but he's got a 1.8 road ERA, and that's where he has more of his innings pitched. So that kind of gives you an indicator that there's something skewing his numbers. And yeah, he had one really bad outing where he gave up 8 runs in 2/3 of an inning against Houston. Since then, he's been better again. Like, all the starts surrounding that, he's got at least 5 innings in all of them and allowed 1 run in each of them. So he's definitely pitched better than that one start against Houston would suggest and what his numbers would suggest. However, he does still walk a lot of guys. So what I think we have with Avila here, I think he's a young guy. I think he's got talent. He's got some strikeout ability, but he walks too many guys. That's his problem. His hit rate is decent enough. His walk rate, like I said, is way too high. His strikeout rate is okay. So, again, it's the wildness that is the huge issue with him. The White Sox, though, only in his relief appearances, they do have 6 at-bats against him, and they're 0 for 6 with 2 strikeouts and 1 walk. So there's 6 hitters who have faced him, all in his relief appearances, haven't done anything against him. Does that mean he matches up well here? I don't know, maybe. But I think he's a lot better than it looks. Like, nobody's going to want to play on him, and nobody knows who he is. But he's definitely got a way higher ceiling than Anthony Kay, who's pitching for the White Sox. I don't think Kay is very good. I mean, he's just kind of an older dude who's just out there because he is an arm and he's been serviceable. He's got a 4.24 ERA, 1.39 whip. That's not bad. He's been good at home, 2.66 home ERA. So you don't really want to fade him when he's at home. But I don't know, man. I mean, I don't think he's that good, really. He did pitch well last time out. We tried to fade him last time out, I think, against Cleveland. And he pitched a lot better than I thought he would. Actually, did we fade him in that one? I don't know. I don't remember if we did or not. But he had 6 shutout innings in that game, but it was against Cleveland, not a good offense. However, Kansas City is also not a good offense. They put up 2 runs in this series so far. Kansas City has the weakest offense on the road this season. And by the way, K did face them twice this season already, and he was good in both starts. So I don't know if we really want to fade K here. One of those was at home, one was on the road. K has like a right around 1 hit allowed per inning. I mean, very mediocre. His walk rate is a little bit too high. His strikeout rate is low. He doesn't strike guys out. Numbers against Kansas City are good, though, as I kind of suggested already. 28 at-bats, 214 average, 540 OPS, 5-2 strikeout walk ratio. I'm laughing because I think the way to play this game might actually be a first 5 under. Yesterday's game, I know, went under. I mean, yesterday's game felt like it might be a first 5 under as well, and it was. It was a full game under as well. This game, the money is backing the over. 60% of tickets, 87% of the cash on the over. Total at 8.5, but I would not go full game under, obviously. These bullpens are unbackable. I mean, Kansas City's is definitely unbackable. But first 5 under, believe it or not, makes some sense in this game. I think Avila, he's got talent, and K is at least good at home, and they have good matchup stats here. So first 5 under, I think, makes some sense. You could try to back Kansas City if you want. 77% of tickets on the White Sox, 78% of the cash on Kansas City. So the money is back in KC here. The numbers like minus 130 something on the White Sox. I actually do agree with Kansas City, but again, I would only do it first 5 innings. You can't back Kansas City's bullpen, man. You just can't do it. But I think they might have an edge with Avila over K. Like, I just think ceiling, like, that threshold is just higher from the young guy, from Avila. So I think you could grab Kansas City first 5 at an underdog price. Maybe just let it roll. I'm going to be right back, and then I'm going to talk about the rest of these games. I do have one more baseball play, and I'm going to give out one WNBA play as well. The White Sox are clearly not winning by 100. Kansas City definitely has a shot to win this game. If they lose, I think it's probably going to be because their bullpen doesn't do well. All right, I'll be right back. All right. Whew, hopefully my voice is a little bit better right now. I have to rest it. I don't know, man. Dirty Sock, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. Miami and St. Louis here. St. Louis is on the verge of getting swept here. Miami has remained hot throughout this series. I thought St. Louis was going to get the game 2 days ago, and that did not happen. This pitching matchup is pretty gross in this matchup here. Maybe Miami's going to look ahead here or at least overlook St. Louis because Miami's on the verge of a road sweep here. Although I don't think St. Louis is as good as their record looks. Miami only goes to Colorado next, so that's not exactly a look ahead. But St. Louis, home team on the verge of getting swept. You know, I keep pointing out that those home teams on the verge of getting swept, they're a decent situational angle to look at. But I have to factor in the matchup, too. You know what I mean? Miami used 4 relief pitchers yesterday, which might not be good because they're going with a bullpen game today. St. Louis used 2 relief pitchers. Miami has the better bullpen. They're number 2, so they've done okay with some of these bullpen games. But, I mean, I'm old school, so I don't love them. Maybe they do okay with their bullpen game today, but maybe they don't. St. Louis is 22nd in bullpen now. I think they're a little bit better than that, but they're not great. So Miami does have the better bullpen, but their bullpen is going to be pitching the whole game. Offensively, Miami's 18th, St. Louis is 16th, so we have mediocre-ish offenses. Miami has Tyler Phillips listed as the starter, as usual. I mean, we see his name out there a lot. That means it's a bullpen game. However, he's actually been going deeper into some of these starts, so you might actually get like 4 to 5 innings out of him here. He's got a 3.09 ERA, pretty good, although his whip is not good, 1.37. I don't think he's actually that good. He's not good on the road, 6.86 road ERA. He did actually go 6 innings last time out against Texas. He looks decent in some of these starts, but he's alternating good and bad. That would mean that his start here is going to be bad if it does continue to alternate. He's got a 16 to 11 strikeout walk ratio over the span this month, though, so he's not what he looks like. Like, his walk rate is way too high, so his ERA definitely should be higher than it is. He's got a really high walk rate on the season. His strikeout rate's not very good either. His hit rate is pretty good. He hasn't allowed that many hits. But other than that, he's not really that good, man. He did have 3 scoreless innings at home against St. Louis earlier this year, so he did pitch well against them. So this might be an okay matchup for him. It's a pitcher-friendly park on the road here. He's got a 273 average allowed to St. Louis and only 11 at-bats, though. 545 OPS, that is quite low. They haven't had any extra base hits against him. 4.0 strikeout walk ratio. Again, it's hard to gauge what you're going to get out of him here. He might actually pitch okay, and Kyle Leahy is pitching for St. Louis. He's not good. 4.24 ERA, but his whip is awful. 1.51, definitely suggestive that his ERA should be higher than that. Although he is better, at least at home, 3.29 home ERA. I still don't trust him. Although he's actually been okay this month, even though his team has been losing most of his starts. He's been decent enough in his last 2 starts with a 10-3 strikeout walk ratio, allowing only 3 runs over his last 12 and a third innings. One of those starts was against San Diego, though. But then he did allow no runs against Arizona after that. Both of those were at home, where he is here today. He's got a high hit rate, though. His walk rate is not great either, and his strikeout rate is kind of low, so there's not really a lot to like about him here. Miami doesn't have great numbers against him. 278 average. Also, no extra base hits. So just contact from them. 628 OPS. 3-2 strikeout walk ratio. I don't know. What do we do with... I have no idea what we do with this game. Like, on the surface, it at first to me looked like it would be an over. And the total is high. It's at 9. And the money is backing the over. 63% of tickets on the under. 78% of the cash on the over. But looking at those pitching matchup numbers, you might get better pitching than maybe it looks like you're going to get on the surface. Because, like, just surface level, I looked and I was like, yeah, that looks like it's an over. But digging into it a little bit, maybe not. Like, I definitely don't want to put my money on it. The money is saying over here. Do with that info what you want. I mean, I don't even know. I don't even know if I lean that way or not. 72% of tickets and cash on St. Louis. They're at about minus 130 here. So St. Louis is a public side, even though they're trying to avoid the sweep here. And you'd think Miami would be a little bit public because they're hot right now. Situationally, I would have to lean to St. Louis to try to get this thing done. But, to avoid the sweep. But I can't back Leahy either, though. Although he is more backable at home. But it's going to take a lot for me to actually back Leahy if I ever do. This next game up, A's and Anaheim on Peacock. This will be my other play. It's a total, and I know we got screwed on the first 5 under in this series the other day, so why not get screwed by going over in this game? There were no 9s out there. You have to go over 9.5, so I know we have the hook there, so That's not as good as 9. 9 is a key number, as I point out, because every odd number in baseball totals is key because you have to break the tie. But still, I think this is an over game. I think we can get this thing done. There's a lot to like about the over just in this series in general. I mean, both bullpens stink, so that helps. Yesterday's game went under. The first game went over, although it was because of one crazy inning. So this really hasn't been that high scoring of a series, but this matchup looks like it's going to be high scoring to me. Obviously, we're fading the bullpens. Don't like the bullpens at all. Anaheim used 4 guys yesterday. The A's used 4 as well. We're looking at ugly bullpens. So the A's are 23rd, but they also are one of the 3 or 4 bullpens, 5 bullpens now that have a 5+ ERA. Anaheim's actually not as bad, even though they're at 25th, but they're still not a trustworthy bullpen at all. Hitting-wise, the A's have been good. They're tied in 6th with the Cubs. Angels in the mid-range at 17th. I think both teams can get some offense going, though. We're going to fade Aaron Savale, even though I tried to back him in his last outing, and he is somewhat backable on the road, but I don't think this is a good matchup for him here. His overall numbers stink as well, 4.88 ERA, but his whip is awful, 1.58. I mean, he's not good. But we know he gets hurt by having to pitch in that A's stadium, so his ERA on the road is way better at 3.34. But I still don't like this matchup for him. He wasn't even that good in his last outing where we tried to back him on the road against San Francisco. He only lasted 4 innings. He threw way too many pitches, though he did have 5 strikeouts, no walks, which is pretty good. He allowed 2 runs, but on 6 hits. I don't know, man. It's not good when you don't pitch efficiently on the road against a weak offense like San Francisco. So I don't think he's trustworthy. In his previous road start, guess what it was? It was here in Anaheim, and he gave up 3 home runs to them, gave up 5 earned runs in 5 innings, 2.2 strikeout walk ratio. Yeah, he got a little bit unlucky, I guess, because he allowed only 5 hits, but he wasn't good in that outing, and I think that might continue here, man. He just doesn't have good matchup numbers against Anaheim. They have a 296 average, 896 OPS against him. 14-2 strikeout walk ratio is good. I mean, he's got decent command numbers, but other than that, I mean, they hit him hard. His numbers are not good against them. 54 at bats. Overall, if you look at his numbers, I mean, he's got a low strikeout rate. His walk rate is okay. His hit rate is really high, so he does just allow way too many hits. It's not just the home runs that get him, although that makes him worse at home because he is a fly ball pitcher. But Anaheim is also a somewhat hitter-friendly ballpark, so this isn't exactly the best environment for him. Not every road environment is the same. And then we're also going to fade the other side of this. Sam Aldeguerri pitching for Anaheim. I mean, he's still young, so he's got he's got some time to turn his career around, but it has not happened yet. 5.47 ERA, 1.5 whip. This is not good. He's been better at home, so I know we're fading the home road splits here. He's got a 3.6 home ERA, but his numbers still are bad. Like, he's got a 14-9 strikeout walk ratio this month in 19 innings. That's not good. He's allowed 1 hit per inning. He's failed to make it 5 innings in the majority of these outings. I mean, this is just not good stuff here. Wasn't good in his last couple outings. He has not faced the A's this year. But just overall, I mean, his numbers stink. High hit rate, high walk rate, low strikeout rate. Not a lot to like. And the A's haven't seen him, I know, except for Heim, who is 1 for 1 with a single and a walk off him. But even so, I don't think he's going to pitch that well here, man. The A's have a good lineup. I think they could definitely get to him for some runs. This total is high for a reason. It's at 9.5, like I said. The money is coming in on the over. 59% of tickets on the over. 91% of the cash on the over. So the money is agreeing with both of my baseball plays here. And my WNBA play I'm going to give out. So over 9.5 in Anaheim and the A's is my play there. All right, no more baseball plays, although we have some big-name teams playing in these last few games here. Every game's in the afternoon except for the night game, of course. Sunday night, there's just one Sunday night game, which is no longer an ESPN game. Atlanta at San Francisco. This looks like a pretty big pitching advantage to Atlanta here. These teams have split the series. San Francisco with a 5-0 win yesterday. Bryce Elder not pitching well, man. I'm kind of mad because I liked that starting pitching matchup, man. It was just Logan Webb didn't have good numbers against Atlanta, so I worried about it. Webb was awesome in the game yesterday, and Elder was awful. So I should have just gone with my gut on that. My gut was telling me Webb is going to outpitch Elder. Man. Anyway, Atlanta saved their whole bullpen, though, because they used Grant Holmes for the last 4 innings of that game yesterday. So Atlanta has a really good bullpen, and it's rested. San Francisco's bullpen hasn't been great. They used 2 guys out of the bullpen, though, so they're a little bit rested as well. San Francisco ranked 24th in bullpen. They're better than that, though. Like, all the teams around them have really bad numbers. San Francisco, not quite that bad. So I think San Francisco is more of a mid-tier bullpen. Atlanta is the best bullpen in baseball. So they have that going for them. Atlanta has gone a little bit down in offense. They're all the way down to 14th now. Giants are 12th, but I don't buy that, as you know. I don't think the Giants are a good offense. Those numbers are being skewed by a couple of those huge offensive performances they had. I think at least one of them was in Coors Field, whatever. Not a good offense. They've come down to earth. I think Atlanta is the better of the 2 offenses here. Starting pitching, Chris Sale is pitching for Atlanta, so typically he's going to be your edge in the starting pitching there. You're going to have the edge at starting pitching if he's on the mound. 2.14 ERA, 1.05 whip from him. He's still pitching well. Not as good on the road, 3.16 road ERA, but even so, that's still pretty good, and he gets a pretty weak offense to match up against here. Sale is still pitching well recently. He's faced some pretty good offenses recently, too. Milwaukee, White Sox, so this is going to be a little bit of a step down after those 2 outings. He's got a low hit rate, pretty low walk rate, high strikeout rate, all the things that you like to see. Numbers against San Francisco are also good. They only have 6 hitters who have faced him. 55 at-bats, though, 19 strikeouts, 2 walks, 127 average, 467 OPS. So, yeah, he basically dominates San Francisco. San Francisco is going with Robbie Ray, who I don't really trust, although his numbers overall are not that bad. He pitched well for a large chunk of the season last year and was an all-star. 3.7 ERA, 1.28 whip. That's still not great in the whip department, but it's not horrible. He is good at home, 2.93 home ERA, and he's pitched well. His last 2 outings, 3 of his last 4 outings have been all right, and San Francisco's actually won his last 6 outings, and he actually just faced Atlanta back on June 16th in Atlanta. He shut them out for 6 1/3 innings with 8 strikeouts, 2 walks, 2 hits allowed. Atlanta is actually weaker at home on offense, so maybe that helped Ray out a little bit. But Ray then followed it up with a pretty good outing against the A's, shutting them out or not shutting them out, but he allowed no earned runs in 8 innings with only 2 hits allowed. But his walk number was too high, so there are still some issues here. He's got a 21-11 strikeout walk ratio this month, so the walk number's not good there. 13 hits allowed in 25 innings is good, though. You look at his overall numbers. His overall numbers kind of reflect all of that. He's got a low hit rate, high walk rate. Strikeout rate is okay-ish. But he does have good numbers against the Braves, not just that most recent outing, but 82 at-bats against them. They have not succeeded against him. 171 average, 566 OPS, 31-10 strikeout walk ratio. So I think both pitchers actually look good in this game. I would go under in this game. You're going to have to pay too much for Chris Sale. There's never a sale on Sale until, his career basically ends. You're paying about minus 150 something for Atlanta here if you want to play them. 84% of tickets, 92% of the cash on them. I wouldn't go that way. Like I said, I like the under here. The total's 7.5. Can you trust San Francisco's bullpen? I don't know. I mean, I like seeing that under 7.5 in the full game, though. I would prefer that over the first 3.5, really. I think maybe you suck it up and do it because San Francisco's bullpen is at least better than what their rankings suggest, and Atlanta is the best bullpen, so that can kind of help counter that a little bit. Both starting pitchers, I think, might actually do well here. So even Robbie Ray, yes. Money is backing the over, though. 52% of tickets on the under, 81% of the cash on the over. But I like the under in that game. I think that's the way that I would play that game. Next game up almost made my card. This is probably the next one I was going to add if I was going to make a play here, which is Dodgers at San Diego. San San Diego got killed yesterday 15-3 after they won 7-1 in the first game of this series. This is going to be a big game. It's for who wins the series, but I think you're going to get more motivation out of San Diego because how much do the Dodgers care when they have a big lead over San Diego in the division anyway? San Diego kind of needs the game more. San Diego's got the better bullpen. They did use 3 guys out of the bullpen, but it was none of their better relief pitchers, so all of San Diego's high leverage arms are available here. Dodgers used 3 guys out of their bullpen yesterday. San Diego is basically an elite bullpen. They're ranked 7th, but they're much better than that. They have the 2nd best bullpen ERA, I'm pretty sure. No, actually 5th. No, 4th. I can't figure it out. Yeah, 4th. It's all close, though. Dodgers are ranked 5th in bullpen, but their ERA is higher than all these teams around them. They're still not a bad bullpen, but I think San Diego's is better. Dodgers have a huge offensive edge, though. They're number 1. San Diego is dead last, 30th. But this starting pitching matchup, I like San Diego here, man. This starting pitching matchup favors San Diego, and so does the bullpen. Emmett Sheehan is pitching for the Dodgers, and well, I think he is talented. I don't think he's as bad as his 5.32 ERA looks. 1.3 whip is still not really that good. He's been worse on the road, 5.58 road ERA, although I know this is San Diego. So you'd figure, well, it's at San Diego. It's a pitcher-friendly park. He should pitch better here, right? Maybe not, because the last time he pitched here, back in May, he only went 4 innings, and he allowed 4 earned runs on 5 hits, 2 strikeouts, 1 walk. He gave up 2 home runs, so maybe he got a little unlucky, but that was not a good start from him, although the Dodgers wound up winning the game, but he was not good in that outing. The bullpen kind of saved him there. The Dodgers have lost his last 4 starts. That's not a good sign when you're pitching for the best offense in baseball and you got a decent bullpen backing you up too, and you lose that many games in a row. He's lost all 4 of them. He's not in good form here, man. He's failed to go 4 innings in 2 of the 4. Not good stuff, although granted, San Diego is not as good of an offense. But all right, San Diego, they're not as good as of an offense, but they have a 280 batting average against him, 868 OPS in 25 at-bats. So San Diego has been able to hit him. 4 strikeouts, 1 walk. So he's not in good form. San Diego hits him well. Why am I not playing San Diego here? Well, I worry a little bit about Michael King's matchup numbers, man. That's really the only thing. King looks good, though. I mean, he is good. He's got a 3.33 ERA, 1.16 whip. He's good at home, 2.87 home ERA. Really good last time out. Shut out the Braves for 7 innings. That is not easy to do. Also with no walks. He struggled a bit in the start before that against St. Louis on the road. I don't know what that was. But mostly he's been pitching well enough, I guess. I don't know, man. I mean, he's been a little bit worse over the last month or so, but he's still pitching well overall. He's got a low hit rate. His walk rate is not horrible, and his strikeout rate is low, though, which does worry me a little bit. I don't know what's going on because King, I think, usually strikes out more guys than he is this year. His numbers against the Dodgers are a little bit questionable here, which is what worries me. 86 at-bats, 244 average is not bad, but an 839 OPS. They've hit him for some power here, man, but it's mostly just Betts and Ohtani. They have 6 of the 7 home runs that the Dodgers have hit off of him. So these numbers are kind of lopsided towards 2 guys, and he might be able to pitch around those 2 guys that hit him well, although also you could look at some player props here if you want to go with Betts or Ohtani, hits plus runs plus RBIs over or whatever. You could do that. 20-9 strikeout walk ratio. That's not good either for King against the Dodgers. So I'm going to lay off this game, but I was close to it. I like San Diego in this one, man. I would take San Diego on the money line if I was going to play this game. Dodgers, they're favored. The Dodgers are at minus 140 here, so you can get a decent money line on San Diego here. 82% of the tickets on the Dodgers. The public is just playing the Dodgers here. 72% of the money on San Diego, though, so the money is backing San Diego. I agree with it. Money's also backing the over. I don't think I would disagree with that. I mean, you saw both starting pitchers don't really have good matchup numbers here, so an over makes some sense there, although it is a very pitcher-friendly park, though. But yeah, over makes some sense, but I would prefer the San Diego side there to get that thing done. Although with a home underdog, a lower scoring game probably helps the home underdog's cause a little bit more. So those two things kind of seem in conflict with each other a little bit. And then we have Yankees and the Red Sox. The Yankees are trying to avoid a 4-game sweep here. The Red Sox have won all 3 games in the series so far. Red Sox, their pitching has been good. They've had 10 quality starts in a row out of their starters. It's just the Red Sox offense has not been able to do anything, really, although they've been a little bit better in this series, which has helped them out. This game's on NBC and Peacock. Can the Red Sox complete the sweep here? Maybe. I don't want to bank on it, though. Red Sox used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. They are a good bullpen. The Yankees have also been good, though. Yankees used 3 as well. Looking at the bullpens, the Red Sox are 4th, the Yankees are 6th, and their ERAs are really close now. They're both top 3 in bullpen ERAs now. So they're both really close. The Yankees are the way better offense at number 2, although their offense hasn't done well in this series. Red Sox 23rd, so there is still a big edge there for the Yankees, although the Red Sox have moved up a little bit recently. Carlos Rodon is pitching for the Yankees. He's decent. 3.7 ERA, 1.28 whip is kind of high. He isn't as good on the road, 4.26 road ERA. Rodon. He gets owned on the road. Is that what that means? I don't know. The Yankees have won his last 5 starts, though, so he came back later in the season because he was injured at the start of the season. Yankees lost his first 3 starts, but since then they haven't lost any of them. They've won 5 in a row. So he's pitching all right, and the Yankees are giving him some run support as well. Yeah, he's pitching okay. Like, his hit rate is pretty low. His walk rate is definitely too high, though. Strikeout rate is also high. So his problem is the walks. Typical. That's his one issue. The numbers against the Red Sox are pretty good. 227 average allowed is low. 719 OPS is not as low as you would think. Because even though the Red Sox don't really hit him for average, they do have 4 home runs off him. An 18-7 strikeout walk ratio, too. So, again, the walk numbers have kind of hurt him a little bit against the Red Sox. So he doesn't dominate the Red Sox, but he does have the upper hand somewhat against the Red Sox. Red Sox still are not a good offense as well, and they're not good at home still. Although, again, they've been a little bit better over the last few weeks. Red Sox are going with Sonny Gray. Sonny Gray having a good season, and he's been in good recent form, too. He's got a 2.95 ERA, 1.19 whip. He's been good at home, 2.61 home ERA. Had 11 strikeouts last time out in Coors Field and held Colorado to 1 earned run in 7 innings. Went 7 innings in the prior start against Toronto. Was good in both of those starts. He did face the Yankees on June 5th in New York. He was okay in that outing. He held them to 3 earned runs. He picked up a win in that outing. Went 6 1/3 innings, 3 strikeouts, 2 walks. He wasn't great, but he was good enough for the Red Sox to get the win there. And it's not an easy task after going to the Bronx and pitch there. His numbers against the Yankees are overall pretty good. And 102 at-bats, 245 average, 675 OPS. Strikeout walk ratio is not good, though. Usually Gray does have a good strikeout walk ratio, but 25-12 there against the Yankees, that's not good. His overall numbers on the season, low hit rate, his walk rate is decent. Strikeout rate's a little bit low. He's getting up there in age, so he doesn't really strike many guys out anymore. I think this game has more indicators towards an under, and I feel like I've said that in every game in the series, and every game, or I think every game has gone under, right? Or at least most of them have gone under. Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like I've said that every time. I've leaned to the under throughout this series. Haven't given it out as a play in any of them, and I think at least 2 of the 3 games have gone under. The money's backing the over here, but I don't agree with that. The total's at 8, which is a pretty reasonable total. It's a reasonable total whether you want to go over or under. It's one of those just throw up the total kind of in the middle there. It is slightly juiced to the under, though. 54% of tickets, 63% of the cash on the over. But yeah, I like the under better than anything else here. I think the pitching might be decent throughout this game, including the bullpens, obviously. So I like the under. 58% of tickets, 51% of the cash on the Red Sox. So the money is fading the Red Sox here. They're at about -118. I mean, I think Gray has the slight matchup edge there, but it's not strong. And the bullpens are about even too. So I think you're looking at some almost even pitching here. And the Yankees do have the better hitting, although I like pitching over hitting. But maybe the Red Sox pitching edge, if there is any, is so slight that the Yankees hitting winds up being the edge here. Plus, the Yankees might be motivated so they don't get swept here. Red Sox, like I said, though, as bad as the Red Sox are, recent years, the Red Sox step up their level of play against the Yankees. That has been the case in this series. The Red Sox have at least had a little bit of fire, like mentally, with, Wilson Contreras. After he got walked the other day, Will Warren threw a pitch that was inside that walked Contreras. I don't think he was throwing at Contreras, but Contreras just kind of did a bat flip like he usually does. He's a little bit aggressive with the bat flip, and Will Warren then stared him down. And then he took issue with it, and the benches cleared, but there was no fight. It was kind of stupid. And then Contreras wound up hugging one of the guys on the Yankees. I'm like, what is going on here? It was a bench-clearing hug. I tweeted about it. I don't know what that was, man. The Yankees, I think both teams' bullpens ran down to the infield, too, for the bench-clearing brawl, and there was no brawl. We got to go back to the mid-2000s again, man. Or the 90s and early 2000s, mid-2000s. We need some ferocity here again in this rivalry, man. We got to get back to the actual brawls. Pedro Martinez against Don Zimmer, that type of shit. Let's get back to it. Almost 500, yes. Dude, it's a slow crawl. We can't get it. Flat Earth Grappler, what's up? I don't know which one of my plays is the best. I gave out over in A's Angels, over 9.5, and under 7.5 in Mariners Indians. Those are my two baseball plays. All right. WNBA is next here, as we have another long show here. Hold on. WNBA, I'm giving out a play in the WNBA here. We have four WNBA games. Afternoon action. I'm going to have a play in the afternoon action here. Not in this first game. CBS and Paramount Plus, Minnesota and Dallas, although I do have a lean in this game, as I usually do. Dallas is returning home from the road. So, right away, I kind of look against a team like that. They've been on the road for almost a week. I know it was only 2 games, but returning home from the road is a little bit difficult. You got to get back to home life. You got to travel across multiple time zones in this case because they went to the Pacific time zone. Not a great spot, however. I think that's where the negatives kind of end for Dallas here because they're not going to overlook Minnesota. You wouldn't think. And this is their last game before they have this little bit of a break here where we have the Commissioner's Cup is being played on Tuesday night and all the other teams get the whole half week off, basically. Dallas is also not going to overlook Minnesota because last time they played them, they got embarrassed in Minnesota, losing 100-76. And if you look at what happened in this game, Minnesota could not miss in this game. So there's going to be some regression, I think, there. Minnesota, 50% from 3, 54% from the field. They went to the line more and only missed 1 free throw. Dallas shot terribly, 38% from the field, 29% from 3. So there's going to be regression here. I think Minnesota may not take Dallas as seriously coming into this particular game. So I like Dallas in this game, even though they are returning home from the road. I don't want to make it a play for that reason. Minnesota, I mean, maybe they will still show up, but they do have the Liberty next coming out of the break. That's going to be a big game against the Liberty, but it's after the break. Minnesota is playing well right now. They did just barely beat Washington, though, after losing to Washington once. That was a game that we lost on. The second game, we zigzagged and tried to lay it with Minnesota, and they did not cover. Not happy about that, but maybe after those 2 kind of bad performances from Minnesota, they might actually show up with a little bit more focus here, although they're traveling from the Eastern time zone to the Central time zone here. I still lean to Dallas, but I see some negatives there, like the return home spot. 79% of tickets, 74% of the cash on Minnesota. Minnesota's laying 3.5 there. But yes, I would lean to taking the points with Dallas as the home dog there, but that's not my play. Portland and Washington. Washington, they had a horrible game last time out against Connecticut, but you got to think they are going to be in bounce back mode. You know why they lost to Connecticut in that last game. I talked about it on my show. I leaned to Connecticut in that game. Washington had just played 3 huge games in a row against the Liberty, pulled off an upset on the road, pulled off another upset against Minnesota on the road, and then somehow in the return home spot, horrible spot, Minnesota should have been focused after losing to them the previous game. Minnesota didn't get it done for us, even though they won. They didn't cover. But Washington had another big game where they almost beat Minnesota there. So you know that it was just a bad spot. They had to go back out on the road just to play Connecticut. Bad spot. That's why they lost that game. They might bounce back from that now that they're back at home against Portland. I think they're the better team over Portland as well. Although their records look similar. Portland, though, I mean, they should be in a bounce-back spot, too, because they just got embarrassed 2 games in a row against Chicago, where Chicago put up 101 and 124 points in those 2 games against them. That is ridiculous. This Portland team, though, I mean, it is an indictment of their defense, though. Like, their defense is not doing well. They should be in a more focused spot here, though, after horrible, horrible performances there. So I think both teams are focused coming into this game. So that's going to have me leaning towards the better team, which is Washington. Nobody's going to want to lay 6.5 with a team that is under 500, right, which is Washington. But the odds makers are telling you they're still better than Portland, who is also below 500. I would lean towards laying it with Washington there. 65% of tickets, 86% of the cash on Washington there. The money is no longer agreeing with my play here, so I don't like seeing that because my one play is a home underdog here, and it's the one game where the market is not agreeing with me now, so isn't that awesome? Isn't that just great? When I looked at it earlier, it was a pros versus Joes situation in my favor. We're going to take Chicago +7 here, and I know you might be saying, well, why? Didn't you just say Chicago just put up a ton of points in those last 2 games, so why would I want to play on them? Usually I want to fade teams that put up ridiculous outliers like that. Yes, that's true. This game is also on CBS and Paramount+. The reason I'm going to play Chicago here, though, is because we're getting a home underdog, and we're fading Vegas. This is not a play on Chicago, really, although Chicago ended a losing streak with that first win against Portland. They played well again against Portland, but there are some positives here. The positives are that Chicago is clicking again right now, and you know they're not going to overlook Vegas. You know what I mean? Like, Vegas are the returning champs. They haven't played them yet this year. They're not going to overlook this game. They're not going to be in a letdown spot despite scoring 124 points. They're going to focus on Vegas, and they're staying at home here. Vegas is one of the best teams in the league, but Vegas is in a really difficult spot here. Vegas just played the Liberty 2 games ago, which is a preview of the Commissioner's Cup, which is going to be on Tuesday, which, by the way, is Vegas's next game. On Tuesday, they're playing the Commissioner Cup, which is going to be a revenge game for them against the Liberty, and maybe a preview of what I think about that game. I think Vegas is going to be super focused in that game to try to get the road revenge, because that game's going to be in New York, I'm pretty sure. So I think Vegas is going to be focused on that, showing up for that. I think Vegas might overlook Chicago here, man. Vegas just played multiple big games in a row. They beat Golden State, which is a big game because Golden State's given them some difficulty, and Golden State has their former assistant coach as their head coach. So there's some coaching rivalry going on there. Then Vegas had that big game against New York that they lost. Then they had a big game against Dallas, which Dallas is an up-and-coming team, and Vegas had lost by 30 points at Dallas the previous game against Dallas, which might have been a bit of a bad spot for Vegas because Vegas had beaten Minnesota the game before that, which was a huge win. They had a big revenge game against Phoenix the next game, which, by the way, you want to talk about revenge mattering for Vegas. Phoenix had beaten them by 30 points, so I think that's why they had focus on Phoenix to get revenge for that home opener, which was a win for me on the show here. So that's what they did. They got that revenge against Phoenix. Yeah, but they did the same thing against Dallas is what I meant to say. So, yeah, Dallas had also beaten them by 30 points in the prior matchup. Very embarrassing. So they bounced back and they beat Dallas. So they're coming off a big win. They're coming off a string of big games here. Basically, all 6 of those recent games were big. Now this is a step down to face Chicago. I think they might just overlook Chicago because, again, don't just look at the schedule here because they do play Chicago again on Friday, but remember, the Commissioner's Cup is on Tuesday. So that is their next game after today's game. So I think it's a sandwich spot. We're going to take Chicago +7 here. You can get 7 at multiple books out there right now. I would just wait a little bit and see if you can get the 7, because the 7 is the key number. Like, if you don't see it already now. Some of the books have 6.5 with juice. But I'm hoping it gets to 7, especially now that we see 56% of tickets and 81% of the cash on Vegas. I don't know why the money seems to be coming in on Vegas right now, unless it's maybe to set it up and get it to that key number 7 again. But 7 is a key number in basketball because teams stop intentionally fouling. So that's what we're going to do. And then we do have New York and Golden State on ESPN and Disney Plus to finish this off. And, of course, just like I said with Vegas, New York might be in a look ahead as well, because New York has that same game up next, the Commissioner's Cup. They're playing Vegas next, but I think it means a little bit more for Vegas in this current state of things, because New York just went into Vegas and beat them. The Liberty probably still are looking ahead, though, possibly at least, to that game. But I think Vegas has a worse look-ahead spot here. Also, the Liberty are playing Golden State here, and they might not overlook Golden State because this is an ESPN game. It's a big game. And also, the Liberty just had a horrible game against Seattle. And I talked about that, too. The Liberty had just beaten Las Vegas, which was a huge game for them. I think they looked right past Seattle because they had Golden State, then the Commissioner Cup final, then Minnesota, Dallas, Minnesota, all on deck. So much, much bigger games all surrounding that Seattle game. I don't know why I didn't give out Seattle. I think Seattle must have been also in a bad spot or something, because that looked like a great spot to fade the Liberty, and they lost outright. Now, the problem is that the Liberty might actually show up because that was an ugly loss to Seattle. Maybe they will actually show up for a game against Golden State here. I still lean Golden State, though, because the Liberty do still have that Commissioner's Cup look ahead, but Golden State, I mean, they're coming off 2 big wins over Atlanta. And, dude, I'm pissed that I lost that play on Atlanta. I thought it was a nice zigzag spot. If you go back and see my explanation on that, my man Marco D'Angelo on Wager Talk, he agreed with me on that. I went and I saw he talked about it on their daily show that they did, and he agreed with me on that. So, and I had not listened to his analysis before I did mine. So, because I did mine in the morning, he did his on that show in the afternoon, I think so. Yeah, that was just, I think we got a tough draw there. Atlanta was winning most of that game. Atlanta was winning most of that game, but it was close. That is still a big win for Golden State, though, to beat Atlanta twice. They have Atlanta again next, so maybe that is going to be a spot to play Atlanta again. But Golden State, I mean, as I pointed out with that Atlanta game, I thought they'd be looking ahead to this New York game because it's an ESPN game. They're going to want to show up and play well against one of the best teams in New York, one of the teams that's won one of the recent championships too. Means more to Golden State, I think, because Golden State is one of the up-and-coming teams. They're a new team as of the last few years, whereas New York is a team, it's one of the OG WNBA teams. They've won championships, including recently. So I lean to Golden State, but it doesn't make my card. 50-50 on the tickets, 57% of the cash on Golden State. Golden State's -1.5, so the public's not going to want to play Golden State, man. Like, where they really want to lay points, I think they're going to look at this and think, how am I getting New York as an underdog here, So it looks too easy to play New York, so yeah. Lean Golden State there. So, of course, that means my one actual play is the one game where the money isn't agreeing with me on the side, so isn't that just great? But, yeah, I like Chicago. That'll be a play. I don't want to be at 6-6 in the fucking WNBA, man. After starting out 5-0, being 6-6 would just be ridiculous. We should have been like 8-0, dude. Because you remember, I had one play that was really good, and I skipped it, and it was a win early on in the season. And I forget what it was. And then the first 2 losses I took on the show in the WNBA were both total bullshit. So, more bullshit than that Atlanta one was. At least that Atlanta game that just happened was close. Which, by the way, I was right about Atlanta not being in a good spot last night. They lost. Again, I was right about Indiana winning in the injured player theory spot yesterday, too. So, not happy. I guess I'm happy I was right, but I'm not happy I didn't have any of that on my card. All right, and then we have the World Cup. Go watch my analysis, man. Again, I filled up my bracket for the World Cup. I don't like it at all. You can go watch my analysis. It was a game theory bracket, so I just fade what the public is doing with the bracket. I still had good teams all going far, so there is that. But I picked against the grain. My initial pick was going to be France. As you saw, you watched my initial World Cup preview. France, I think, is still kind of the team to beat. They do have the best odds to win the World Cup at this point now. I think they're the best team. They have a lot of experience. They made the final 4 years ago, and they're a really deep team. But everyone is picking them, and they're still only like plus 400 or whatever to win the whole thing. So odds are that some other team is going to still win. So that's where I started with that bracket picking last night. You can go watch what I did, but I had to go against France because they're being overpicked in a huge way, so I just can't do it. I had to pick a different team. Unfortunately, I picked a team that I don't like and that I'm rooting against and that have been dicks in my city, which they've been doing since the 1700s. So you already know who I'm talking about. But yeah, you can go watch what I did with that bracket. All right. But anyway, yeah, the knockout bracket starts today in the afternoon with South Africa, who somehow made the knockout stage against Canada on Fox, Telemundo, Fox 1. This game is going to be in Inglewood, California. Every game from now on, I believe. Oh, no, I'm wrong. I thought every game was going to be in the U.S. from now on. I'm wrong. There are still some games that are going to be in Mexico and Toronto. Whatever, man. I don't know. I don't think that Canada and Mexico are getting the home country edge anymore, but I could be wrong about that. The U.S. will, though. Anyway, this game is in California. I don't think either team is good, dude. Canada has not had a good history in the World Cup. I think this is the first time they've ever made the knockout stage. I think they had only losses in World Cup play until this year. South Africa also is a big-time surprise that they made it this far. South Africa somehow just beat South Korea in their last matchup, which wound up eliminating South Korea, even though South Korea is a better team than South Africa. I don't know how that happened. South Korea did not play a good game. Neither team was good, though. So, yeah, I don't like South Africa really here. I don't like Canada either, though. I don't think either team is good. So, I'm not giving out a play on this. Canada did just lose to Switzerland. If you look at what Canada's done in the World Cup, it is very unimpressive. They had a draw against Bosnia-Herzegovina. They beat Qatar. Who cares? Beat them by 6. But it's Qatar. They suck. And then Canada lost to Switzerland. They did okay. They lost 2-1. Switzerland is better than they are, but still, this has not been an impressive showing to me, really, from either of these teams. Canada is the favorite on the three-way line at minus 150, and yes, there is still a three-way line, even though, so the way this works is there are no more draws as far as the final result is concerned. So the knockout stage, a team has to advance, okay? So the market now has there are two different markets that set up in the knockout stages. You get the three-way market like we had in the group stage, where you can play either team to win or the draw. So yes, there is still a draw on the three-way market, but what that means is the game is still tied after extra time. So I believe what happens in these knockout stages is they play the normal match, the 90 minutes plus stoppage time. If it's tied at that point, I believe they play an extra period of, I don't know if it's a half hour, I forget what, they play some sort of extra period. And then I think if it's still tied after that, then it goes to penalty kicks. Somebody could correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's right. So a team does have to advance. But if you're looking at this three-way market here, the draw will hit if the game is tied at the end of all that time. So if it goes into penalty kicks, I believe the draw wins on the three-way market. I believe that's what happens here. So there is a separate market with which team is going to advance, and that's just a straight up either this team advances or this team advances. And of course, the favorite is going to be a heavier favorite to advance the team's going to be a heavier favorite to advance than they are on the three-way line, right? Because there's no draw scenario in the advance, right? Even though it gets dicey, dude. So like Canada's minus 150 on the three-way, so they're favored here, but they're probably like minus 300 something on the to advance line. I talked about it last night. I think that is what they are. And maybe that line's a little bit too heavy because if you think about it, well, I don't know, man, because, of course, if Canada wins, then they hit on the to advance, obviously. If they win, they advance. We know that. But if the game does wind up getting to penalty kicks, which is, I guess, kind of unlikely in this matchup, but I don't know, maybe not. then really it's anybody's game in the penalty kicks. Like, penalty kicks are going to favor the team that has the better strikers and probably the more experienced teams. So the penalty kicks are probably going to favor teams like France, Norway, teams that, really are capable at shooting. And, some of the other better teams too, probably. But, and the Netherlands, I would say, is probably in that as well. I don't know much about it, though. But anyway, yeah, I don't have a good read on this game. I don't like either team. Canada is the favorite, so I expect they should win. Not going to give out a play on this, though. I'd slightly lean more towards Canada here. But South Africa probably feels like they're free-rolling because nobody expected them to be here. Canada, because they're one of the hosts, it was like they kind of expected to be here. Canada was the favorite to win their group, I'm pretty sure. So Canada was more expected to be here. South Africa they had the worst odds to advance out of their group. So South Africa could just be completely free-rolling here. So maybe South Africa does come out and play looser, whereas the pressure might be a little bit more on Canada here. I don't think either team's going to make it too far in this thing, though. I don't like either team, but one team has to advance here. So that's going to do it, man. That's it. Flat Earth, yes, the draws. I don't know. I think if you played a draw in every match so far, you probably lost money. There haven't been that many draws. You got a lucky draw if you went with the game that I thought was really likely to go to a draw yesterday was the Algeria-Austria game, because a draw meant that both teams were likely to advance. So I was like, these teams are probably just going to both play to a 0-0 draw. The total was 1.5 in that game, but nope, both teams tried to win, and the game only drew because I think it was Austria hit a goal with like, dude, I don't know what it was, because stoppage time was 4 minutes in that game, and they let stoppage time go 5 minutes, and that's when Austria made the drawing goal. I don't know how they determined that. It seems like it's rigged, dude, because if it's 4 minutes of stoppage time, I thought the match was supposed to stop at 94 minutes, but nope, it was 95 minutes, and there goes Austria, getting the drawing goal there. And by the way, yeah, that knocked out Iran. I think it is rigged. I think it's because of all the bullshit, all the military activity, all the war shit that's going on. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was rigged to get rid of Iran. Absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, that's going to do it for my show today. My plays, one more time, are under 7.5 in Mariners, Indians, in baseball. Over 9.5 in A's, Angels in baseball, and the Chicago Sky +7 in the WNBA. WNBA needs to start turning it around again, man. I am extremely unhappy that we went from 5-0 to 6-5. It's just bullshit. Again, we had one win that was a good play that I just left off the table, and then we had 2 losses that definitely should have been wins, and we easily could have had the win with Atlanta the other night, too, so I'm pissed. That's going to do it. Learn to Toad on Twitter. I can't talk anymore. Learn to Toad on Instagram. Like, subscribe to this channel here. Listen on audio, Apple, Spotify, Spreaker. Get this channel up to 500 subscribers, man. We got to get this thing going. Nobody listens to me at this point. What else do I have to promote? Covered in Uke on YouTube. I did one Uke cover the other day, but my voice is dead. Again, I haven't even been able to speak, let alone sing the last 2 days, so I can't do anything right now. It's really bad. Patreon.com/LearnToToad. If you want to support me there. I got to get some of the Uke requests in order, too, but I can't do it. I can't do anything right now. Literally, I cannot sing at all. And I blame this show because I keep talking, and I don't have any way of controlling my voice on this show. I just talk loud, and doing it for 2 hours every day is absolute death to my voice. I can't do it. Whoo! I need to find. You can hear it right there. I can't do anything. I have to I have to find a way to just kind of talk like this the whole time. I don't know, man. If I can find a way to kind of just not talk as loudly, get a little bit more sexy here on the show. I don't know. Go listen to Losercast every Tuesday night. Giants, G-Spot Podcast, the New York Giants. That's another podcast we have. And I was on Nephilim Death Squad, Neph to America, on Friday, so go check that out, too. If you missed it, that would have been a good start to your weekend, but you can finish your weekend with it now. Happy Sunday. Let's have a winning day. Let's get back on track after 2 bad days. Peace.
But don't you go quiet, don't you fade from the floor. Your name still means something to somebody for sure. Put the glass down, baby. Look at me now.